Today we're going to use the Artistic Wire 3D Bracelet Jig to do sort of something a little bit different. This is the basic design that we're going to be doing, and it has, instead of the loops being up and down, they're sort of a little bit angled. So that's just a different setup with the jig. So to start, work on the edge and put a single peg in, and then another just at a right angle and down one row. Then skip one and put another in. This will require 22 of the pegs and the holders. The kit comes with 20, so you would need to either get the extra peg set, or I'll show you how to get around this in this particular design. And this is the way it's going to look when you're finished. So you'll be missing the 2 pegs. That's okay. I'll show you how we're going to be able to still make it without those 2 pegs. We're using 16 gauge wire. I'm going to straighten it using the wire straightener just by rolling this over, squeezing slightly, and then pulling the wire through. Do that a couple of times. And then I'm going to leave the rest of the material on this coil because I'm not exactly sure how much wire we're going to need. You can start at the blank spot. I would advise against that because we're going to remove some of these and put over here once we get started. So I'll start right here. The wire goes in, and then I'm just going to bend it so that I kind of have a little bit of an anchor for the wire. Then just push this down in between the 2 and use the tool to wrap the wire, and then go across and reverse the direction. This is one of many different ways that you can do this. You just want to be consistent going across if you want the bracelet to have symmetry. If you don't want the bracelet to have symmetry, that's fine. You just need to do a little bit of experimentation to see what you think is going to look the best for your bracelet. So now that we've got quite a few of these and this wire anchored down, then not the end and not the second one, but probably the third one in would be a really good one to then pull the pins and let them drop. And now I can take these 2 pins that I've removed and put them into my little spot. That gives you the ability to have a 22 pin pattern with only 20 pins. So here I'm back to my starting point. So I can snip this off about halfway and then snip the bottom one as well. Okay, now if you can see here, these aren't quite pushed down onto the surface, so we'd like to do that just by pushing right on there so that those come down. It just makes for a little bit better looking loop on the final piece. So we've gone all the way around and done that. Now just pull the pins, and I get in the habit of just pulling the pin and then dropping it in the center of the jig. Because we use 16 gauge wire, I'm going to be using the standard crimp plier and the 16 gauge gold color artistic wire crimp. So I'm going to place it inside the crimp tool with about 1.5 millimeters hanging out. And then to measure halfway, I'm going to slide this up on top of the tube so that I can kind of get a feel for where half is, and then place my thumbnail right there. So when I slide this in, I can go right to half and squeeze. That's going to put a dimple right in there that holds the wire. It's also called a cold connection. And on the other side, there's no measuring needed because I can just slide it right in. Got it a little bit close, and I want the dimple to be on the inside. So I make sure that the tooth is gonna make the impression on the inside, and then squeeze there as well. Now I've got a great cold connection to hold this bracelet together. So for this project, I'm going to use the Artistic Wire iron color, and I'm going to pull out, hopefully enough, probably around 2.5 feet to do this little project. Some would not crimp this and do the wrapping first. I like to do the wrapping after it's been crimped. Therefore, that's why I'm showing it this way. Just put this through, and I want to wrap around the crimp in a way to kind of get it started. So this is going to come up on this side. And I'm going to go over this and then back under in this direction over that one, and then come under and wrap around and then go over that one. So I just want to keep this symmetrical, however you decide to do it, so that each one of these looks the same. Under. This is where my connection will be. That'll go under, and this will come over and then back under as well. Snip this off so I can twist it back under, and this one will go back under as well. So carefully, we're going to pull this down. I'm going to pull this one down too. Just tuck that under nicely and try to bring them as close together as we can. And we can come and just kind of nudge just a little bit to get those wires just the way we want them coming together here. Now that added wire gives even more strength to this. Go. So there's another version of this, and then we have this one which has less pegs and more wraps around the center. And as you can see, there's really no rules here to what you can do. These were wrapped on both sides in most cases, all the way around. We have others that are like this. It would take many more of the pegs to do this. You could place them and then take them out and replace them, but it's a whole lot easier when you're wrapping to be able to have all of them. This takes 44 pegs, so that would be the original 20 plus the additional 30 that comes in the extra peg kit. So that's how that one would be done, and then do the wrapping as well. That's another use for the 3D bracelet jig.